Hello and welcome to another episode of Sci-Fi-Night Tipsy Talk. We are continuing reviewing the episodes of X-Files Season 11. We're up on episode 7, and once again we are bringing back a good friend of the show, Joseph Ari. How you doing, buddy?
Well, good to be here once again. We're going to get to the episode real soon, but it's always a pleasure to be on your show.
Yeah, well, that was a pleasure. This episode was perhaps not really. Let's just touch really quickly on the past two episodes since we did this. Did you see the ones after the episode we talked about?
Yes, I did. That was the one with, the kid from Sixth Sense. Why on God's name can't I remember his name?
Haley Joel Osment.
Thank you. Who now looks like Al Borland from Tool Time.
He looks like he ate the kid from the Sixth Sense.
Yeah, he looks like, remember Al Borland from Home Improvement with Tim Allen back in the day?
Yeah, that's true. He does.
Exactly like that. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty weak episode. I mean, I like the fact that it did focus on Skinner, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that was the very first time we got a glimpse into his past, which is kind of cool. But then they went overboard with the whole chemtrails thing.
Yeah, I think so. I also thought the past episode was pretty weak, and that the whole Vietnam thing, it just felt so like, okay, it's been done a thousand times, and they didn't do it interestingly, and it wasn't even a real X-File. Like, there wasn't really anything paranormal or supernatural at all going on.
Yeah, same with this episode.
Yeah. So yeah, let's just sum it up real quick. So, Mulder and Scully, at first I thought they were in Japan. Because of how it looked. But,
and by the way, I didn't even know that we would have that technology.
Yeah.
And I guess it will never be addressed any time in the future, right?
Probably not. No, but like, I was thinking at first that this might be a callback to some of the older episodes we did, because there is this, like, we did have some of the spooky technology episodes going on. But this made me realize how much better that worked, like, in the 90s. Because we got Mulder and Scully, we're at this sushi place. Mulder gets the wrong order, and he doesn't tip. And then all of a sudden, this restaurant chain wants to kill him, which is, I guess, completely AI or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the prologue itself revealed something about a computer program which really reminded me of Ultron from the Avengers comic books. It was created, became self-aware, adapted to human behavior, and then I guess they unplugged it, but it seems like it uploaded itself onto basically alone is interesting. But again, I mean, it starts out right out the gate. This is something that we've addressed in the past. I don't think that the writers of the show, at least as of now, know anything about being subtle.
Yeah.
And every single time they try to put politics into the show, it feels not only forced, but it feels like politics comes first. The actual entertainment of an X-Files episode comes later. And I hate it when they do that. And that's exactly how the intro of that episode felt. I was like, oh, please don't make it as painful as it was last time we both spoke. But it wasn't. So I was glad about this. And there are one or two things that I will actually praise about this episode. Well, I'll get to that. But yes, you're right. They are at this restaurant trying to order. And I don't know if you noticed that, but every single time they received an order or anything, they played the beat from Darude, Sandstorm, like that internet meme techno song.
Oh, really?
Yes. It made me laugh out loud.
Oh, damn, I didn't even notice that.
Like, yeah.
Well, I mean, one thing that was pretty noticeable, though, was the very heavy-handed, like, there was like no dialogue in the first 10 minutes or something like that. And
I was about to mention that.
Yeah, and it was like, at first I thought it kind of worked like, okay, I get it, technology, we're so wrapped up in our world and our phones, stuff like that, we don't even converse. but then it got to a point where it's like, okay, honestly, this is just really unnatural.
Yes.
It makes no sense.
Yeah, it reminded me of, again, a show that did it brilliantly back in the days was Buffy the Vampire.
Yeah, I was going to mention about Buffy, the episode Hush, which I think is my favorite episode.
It is in my top 10 favorites, and I've been, again, delaying with all of my videos, but at some point I will give you my top 10 favorite episodes of that show, and it's definitely on there, but I've seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer. This is a show also dealing with magic, with vampires, with creatures, with witches, with all the great stuff. And one episode, few demons come to town and steal everyone's voices. So the entire episode basically turns into a silent movie. And it works perfectly because they still communicate on such an interesting yet hilarious level, so it's both creepy and funny at times. And I thought, wow, is X-Files gonna pull that off? Because in the beginning I was like, yeah, I get it. Sometimes you catch yourself being like that, being constantly on the phone, even though you're I'm sorry, that burp, I hope it wasn't that loud. And you catch yourself being on the phone while you're actually hanging out with someone, which is not cool. So I like that. But then, as you already mentioned, once shit started to hit the fan, the fact that they don't try to call anyone, the fact that they don't talk to one another about, okay, how are we going to solve this thing? I don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, it made everything feel so like unnatural. Like I was starting to wonder, like, is this a simulation or something like that? But it was just weird writing. And yeah, speaking of which, just to announce as well, the episode was written by Shannon Hamblin and Kristen Cloak. I don't know who the first one is, but Kristen Cloak, she's actually been done acting in quite a few things. She was actually she played a role in an X as well. And it's directed by Glenn Morgan, series veteran. I mean, for what it's worth, I mean, I guess it was directed just fine, but the material that was on screen was just
again, even the idea to have an episode focusing on AI could work. But in this case, I just feel like it really didn't. There was no actual X-File case involved. First thing that that I had to think about once this episode started is like, oh, are they gonna bring back the guy from The Lone Gunman who's now trapped in an AI?
Yeah. That would have made too much sense.
Yeah. But I was like, no, screw all that. And by the way, since when does Scully live in this high-tech house from Ex Machina?
Yeah, I was thinking that too. That didn't make any sense to me. She's never been... That didn't fit her character at all for me. I mean, she's got this little spiritual twang. She's never been this super technological person. It just didn't make any sense. And
since when do we have these cab/Uber drivers who are completely futuristic, and I don't get that.
Voice recognition, Google
voice recognition, like, virtual avatar.
Yeah, it was. That's why I thought it was set in Japan, or that it was like a simulation or something like this, because it didn't feel natural or real.
Yeah.
And I mean, I thought it got a little bit more fun once, like, I mean, it was stupid and silly, but I did think it got more fun sort of when the robots started showing up and they were in that factory. It reminded me a bit of that movie Virus, on the ship with Jamie Lee Curtis, where these robots start building themselves and killing people. It's actually kind of fun.
Maybe I'll check it out. I'm still waiting on Feast, trying to get my hands on it.
Actually, one of my older reviews was of Virus, so you could check out the review.
Will do. Well, yeah. Look, I still believe that David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson have such a good chemistry that it even works without them having to say a single word of dialogue.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
they
I mean,
really were the saving grace here. Like some of the, like a few sort of subtle humorous things from Mulder and Scully, and yeah, just anytime they worked together, it worked. I like Scully's hair in this episode.
Yeah, it was really old school.
Yeah, it reminded me of like sort of season 7 era Scully, which was cool.
But that woman doesn't age anyways. It's insane.
Seriously, she looks younger
She looks
now
better.
than she did in season 1.
Yeah, in season 1, I was like, back in the days, everyone was head over heels for her. I was like, I don't get it. Now that she's getting older, I was like, oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, we get it now. It's
Yeah,
a fine wine. I thought that the robot designs, like the eyes and face, was just so over the top. I didn't like the final big bad robot.
It reminded me it reminded me of Wall-E, like those things on the ship.
Yeah, exactly. What I liked more, it sucks that they had it for like 30 seconds, was that sort of like 3D printing gun thing.
Yeah.
I thought that was actually pretty cool, and I thought, what? There's your idea. There's a unique AI idea, not robots, but like a constantly developing 3D printing thing.
Yeah, but it was basically Mulder and Scully not facing real danger, but being annoyed by technology.
Yeah.
And that was 45 minutes long. And this is my problem, because if you want to pull up a great X-Files episode involving AI, why not have someone die at the beginning of the episode and have the killer be an artificial intelligence, and Mulder and Scully chasing the trail of some suspect only to realize that it's actually a computer program responsible, kind of like iRobot with Will Smith, you know?
Well, you know why they can't do that? Because that's the exact plot to a season 1 episode called Ghost in the Machine. Where there's this sort of AI that runs this building, and it's sort of like, it's the security, it runs the elevators, does all that stuff. And it starts off with this guy who gets killed, and then it turns out that this robot, or this AI, is like killing people who are threatening to shut the AI down. And at first it's a developer who becomes a suspect, and it's one of the cheesier and less produced episodes of season 1, but I mean, I think the concept is fine, and it holds up all right. And that's the thing. They've already got a lot of stuff they could do. I thought that maybe it would be a callback even. Like the AI never really got shut down at the end of that episode. But nope. But actually, the X-Files they did their best ever AI thing in the cold open of a season 5 episode called Kill Switch, where there's this programmer. He's in this seedy like bar or something like that, and he's trying to hack into this thing. All the while, all these random gang members from like different gangs, like you got this like Latino gang, you got this black gang, you got this like white supremacists, they're all getting phone calls from this weird robotic voice telling them like a snitch or someone they're looking for, like a rival gang member or something like that, is in this bar. And they all show up, and like bikers come in, and then all of a sudden U.S. Marshals come in, and obviously the place just goes off, and the target is actually this programmer who is trying to shut down the AI. Another situation where they did actually a really cool AI thing, but this just did not work.
I remember an episode very vaguely that also involved artificial intelligence and virtual reality. I think it even had Krista Allen in it, and she was, again, super sexy and I think kind of a program, but not sure.
I think that's the same one. It's because this chick shows up, and then Mulder, he gets this sort of virtual reality thing. He gets like captured.
Yeah. That's
the episode.
Again, ages ago, but that woman again doesn't age, so. I
wrote down some small notes, little trivia-esque stuff. What Scully's password is Queequeg, which is the name of a dog that she gets in season 3, and it gets eaten up in season 5. Mulder and baseball. Mulder loves baseball. One of the episodes that David Duchovny actually wrote and I think directed it's one of these sort of it's kind of a feel-good humorous episode about this alien who falls in love with baseball and disguises himself as a human. And did you notice that Mulder's credit company was Bigley Credit?
No, and now even that you're telling me, you still don't know what that means exactly.
It's a Trump thing, you know. He's got this catchphrase, big, like, it was this thing that Trump said, like Bigley, like he made up a word. People started making fun of him for it.
I only remember Quiffefe.
Yeah. I don't know. There's just not a lot.
There's not even too much to talk about, right?
It did have potential, and I mean, I did like some of a robot design, like the dog kind of a design. I actually thought it was kind of cool looking, and some interesting potential here, but just didn't really come together. Did you, however, see the trailer for next week's episode?
Yes, I did, and that again looks interesting. And that alone, I mean, the little kid in the yellow raincoat immediately made me think of Stephen King's It.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be something along those lines, because looking at that doll, I mean, I'm assuming
it looks
some kind
clown-ish.
of fear or like dreams, something like that.
Yeah, and that seems to be an actual case again, and an actual scary supernatural kind of situation, which is what I want to see when I'm watching the X-Files, you know?
Yeah, that's what we've been kind of clamoring for. That was like half of that episode 5, the episode right after the one we talked about, the one with the monster, Ghoulie. I ended up actually really liking that episode, but half of that with the monster I thought was actually really good. I thought episodes 4 and 5 have been really solid so far.
I agree with you on 5 even more. I mean, we didn't get a chance to talk about it, but I actually liked that episode quite a bit. That, to me, was the perfect blend of mythology. Well, where she runs into her son at the gas stop and without knowing it. I like that. I think they kind of pulled his newly found abilities right out their asses, but all in all, I enjoyed it. And to me, it was the first one where it's like, okay, this is solid character development, this is solid world building, and it seems to be leading to somewhat of a resolution, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can tell the sort of like the season finale is gonna sort of tie that together again. And, I mean, yeah, like you, I really liked it. I think maybe episode 4, like I thought that one was a lot more fun, but I think maybe this episode, that episode 5, Ghoulie, that might be the best episode so far.
It is mine.
Yeah, because it just, like you said, it encompassed so much, like perfect blend of mythology, monster of the week. Had a really like when you first saw the trailer, you think that it actually is this monster going on, and when in the cold opening we see it's these two girls seeing each other as a monster.
Yeah,
right away.
And they start stabbing one another.
That's cool. That like I'm in.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it so much better. And also, comparatively speaking, if we take every single episode prior to the one we just saw, whether or not we liked it, there was so much more to talk about, because this episode had one concept and it basically stayed the same.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I honestly think that if we were to time this, we probably talked as much about other episodes as we did about this one.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's a shame, but I mean, this also reminded me why, okay, the best spooky technology show around right now is definitely Black Mirror, because that's where you
still haven't watched it, you know that?
Oh my god, I'm actually going to do a top 5 episodes.
Yeah, I want to watch it because everyone keeps on telling me about it and how great it's supposed to be, and I'm buying it. I mean, I want to see it. I just didn't have the time yet. Only show I'm religiously watching right now is a show that a lot of people have started to hate on, which in a way I get, but I still think it's a good show. It's The Walking Dead. And to all you people out there saying, well, the comics are so much better and you haven't read the comics, I was like, yeah, I read the comic books. I like the comic books. But in all honesty, I believe the comic books and the show are two separate entities. And sometimes I like what they do in the comic books more. Sometimes I think the show is superior. So both. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Can we all just get along? I mean, I will admit that I was one of those who at first was a little bit anti because I really loved the comics so much, but and also because season 2 was really disappointing.
Season 2 is bad. There's
but
no easy way around it.
Yeah, but as soon as like I got to season 3, I was like, okay, actually this is actually pretty solid, and you know, just getting better, and yeah, I got catching up to do there, but I will get behind you on it and vouch for it. Definitely.
Yeah, I think especially some characters. So much more interesting on the show. But let's get back to the X-Files.
Yeah. So, let's see, did I have any more notes? Oh yeah, they did the new intro text thing again.
Yeah, which was basically someone falling asleep on their laptop.
Yeah, and I said it, I think last episode, I can't remember now, but I think last episode had the normal intro. I remember when I did the solo Tipsy Talk for that I said, okay, well finally, like, we're not overusing the changing the truth is out there text, because they had done it in like 4 out of 5 episodes up until that, and it makes it lose all its meaning when they finally, like, when they actually do it. And now when we did it, and it was just such a lazy thing. I mean, it didn't mean anything. Like,
no,
you're gonna change
really,
it, at least have it mean something.
Exactly. So how many episodes do we got left?
It's 3 episodes left. The next one is called Familiar, and it's the one that looks kind of like, horror style, and seems interesting. Let me see, I actually got the episodes right here in front of me. Then we've got episode 9 is called Nothing Lasts Forever. Mm-hmm. And then we've got episode 10, which is My Struggle Part 4, and we'll be the rounding off of this, I guess, probably the whole series.
Yeah, I'm gonna wonder who's gonna do the narration of that one.
Yeah, right. Because
either Skinner or Reyes, I guess.
Yeah.
Or all together, all of them.
It's like we're going on. It's like a karaoke thing where everybody jumps in and does a verse.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's it. A shorter episode than last, but for a reason.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, again, last time I was on your show, you had to introduce me. We had to give our basic background when it comes to the X-Files. And this episode, even though not my favorite that we discussed last time, was so crazy and so out there that we could actually scrutinize it bit by bit.
Yeah, exactly. And I do at least admire them for trying something different and for being a little bit out there and ridiculous.
This one was just lazy. I mean, nothing happened. It was the same thing going on for 45 minutes. It seemed like a skit, you know? Yeah,
it was like a Family Guy skit where the joke is that it, like, goes on forever.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, but what's the point? And I expected some sort of twist, some sort of resolution to all the madness. And as I mentioned before, since when does Scully live in the headquarter of Ex Machina?
Yeah. It was just flat out weird. But I am pretty certain that next week's episode will have a lot more to talk about, because from the little puppet thing to that weird thing standing in the window. And again, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. And luckily I have you as a hardcore fan always on my side trying to remind me that this show used to be amazing. Yeah, exactly. And that's a good note to end it on. It used to be amazing, and let's try to keep that in mind as we go through it, because, I mean, it is making me enjoy the show more when they do have some little callbacks and references.
Yeah, I get that. But doesn't that make you sad as well? Because you're like, yeah, I appreciate that callback, but why not be like that?
Well, I mean, if we can get, let's say these last 3 episodes are as solid as 4 and 5, I'll be pretty okay with this season.
Yeah, same. Again, 5, probably my favorite.
And I did actually like that one with the evil twins.
Yeah, same. To me, that was the most X-Files-ish episode of that season.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess honestly 3, 4, and 5 have been actually pretty solid for me, and hopefully this next episode, and I mean, it was just the trailer, but I mean, it was a good looking trailer, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So I guess now it's our turn to ask the audience.
Yeah, what did you guys think of the episode? Let us know in the comments below, and next...
Are you looking forward to the next one?
Yeah, I mean, I think pretty much everyone is, because that's what people have been commenting the most on the episodes. It's like, give us a creepy monster of the week, and we haven't gotten in any. Like, at least in the last season, we had one with a trash man, which was pretty fun. Hopefully
that,
this one
to me, out of all the new episodes, and when I'm talking new, I mean ever since the revival, that's my favorite episode, because that felt genuinely creepy, genuinely scary. They kept the politics out of it completely, and was just Mulder and Scully investigating a super creepy case. That's all I want.
Yeah, exactly. We don't know anything about the season or the episode 9, Nothing Lasts Forever, but I have seen some clips, and from what I've seen, it seems to be like some weird stuff going on at like a hospital or something like that, and I've got high hopes for that, at least.
Look, I'm all down for that. I just want a solid case by now, because two things I've given up on. First of all, don't get political on me, because you don't know anything about subtlety anymore. Mm-hmm. And second, I've given up on the mythology, because at some point, how is the cigarette smoking man alive? What happened to Spender? Why does he look like a person now? Like, what?
And how is this AI that is a restaurant, like, how is it operating a multi-million-dollar level artificial intelligence system seemingly by itself? I mean, you gotta assume that, like, the parts get delivered, like they have to be picked up.
Yeah.
I mean, is like this little robot coming over to the delivery man with like a check?
And how does no one know about this? Or how does all of a sudden, how is it here all of a sudden?
Yeah, and you'd think that someone else would maybe say something about like 12,000 drones going through a residential neighborhood.
Yeah, again, just sheer insanity. And don't even get me started on the whole cigarette smoking man is actually William's father thing. Yeah,
we'll have to see where that goes, but yeah, that will be an answer for a separate episode. And like we said, let us know what you guys thought of this episode in the comments below, and what you guys think of next week's episode, about the season so far. And thank you very much for joining us again.
Thank you. Always a pleasure being on your show. And if you'll have me, I'll be back.
Yeah, you're already the guest of honor, the VIP. There's like a spot. You got a special couch.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Well, we will catch you guys next time, and take it easy.
Take care. Bye-bye.